Hey guys, Ryan, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. We're here with the Sprint Man, the legend. This guy wins races. Small, we're talking super small loft, super world-class results. The toughest course for sprint racing in all Belgium. Patrick, I'm going to get nervous, see? Boeckx. Patrick Boeckx from Belgium. Patrick, thanks for having us here. You didn't lie when you said small loft.
Oh, it's like that.
This is the loft. This is it. Take a look, guys. Not big at all, but world-class results. So tell me, Patrick, how did you get started in pigeon sport?
Yes, my whole family was pigeon fancier. My father, my grandfather. It's like everybody here in Belgium. It goes from father to son. Mostly from father to son.
And when your father played, how was he?
He raced also small distance, and he was a good fancier. Good, very good. And at the age of 26, I started for myself. I left house and my parents' house, and I started for myself. Meanwhile, I'm always racing, all the time.
And this area, what makes this area so tough?
The competition of van Vught Donkers, Leo Heremans, Dirk van den Bulk, hard to race. Last 2 years, I had to race against Xuan the Ridder. Xuan, a Chinese-Canadian guy, together with Yannick the Ridder, Flanders Collection. They were 500 meters away from here, their loft. I had to race against them.
Very intimidating, eh?
And because they send always a big number of pigeons. I only have a few pigeons. So I had to beat them with the quality, not with the quantity. That was impossible.
Now, when you say you ship a small number of pigeons, on average, your old bird team, when you fly old birds, how large is that team?
I have only place for 9 widowhood cocks, so that's the maximum I can race. So last year I had only six. 6. And do you fly the hens or only cocks? I sometimes fly a few hens, 1 or 2, but not mainly cocks.
Mainly cocks. And young birds, how large is your young bird team?
Well, at the moment I weaned 10 youngsters. But I will, of course, I keep on breeding, but I think 40, 50 for myself. And the selection goes on.
Now, when you're selecting, when you start with those young birds, when do you start selecting? At what age?
The day they are weaned, they already got this small selection, and then the ones I don't like in the hand, they go immediately out. And then at the age of 3 months old, 4 months, we learn them, and quickly I go with a single toss. Not to make them cleverer, but with a single toss, the rubbish stays away.
Okay, so
quickly, even before the race started, the stupid ones stay away because single toss they don't survive it.
Now this is interesting because I have not heard a lot of people talk about single toss pigeons. Now, your young pigeons, you start letting them out when you wean them, right? You start letting them out, you let them loft fly, they get to go play. I know you darken them, they get to go loft fly, and then you start training them at how old?
Depends a little bit. In the first born youngsters, the winter youngsters, they are a little bit older because in winter time everything goes slower. But the summer born youngsters, at the age of 12 weeks, they are already racing 120 kilometers Kivrin.
Right.
So depends. But when they're 10 weeks old, you can start training them easily.
And how will you do it? You put them in the basket and you take them, single toss them?
No, not immediately. In small groups.
Okay.
5, 6 pigeons, and then when I think they already learn a lot, then I start to single toss them from 30 kilometers and sometimes at 70 kilometers. Before they raced, single toss at 70 kilometers, but almost nobody in Belgium does do it because they are afraid to lose a pigeon, and when you have too much pigeons, it takes too much time for the single toss. When you have 120 youngsters and you liberate them every 2 minutes, then you're 3 hours on the racing point. That is too much work.
Right. So you'll start training them in small groups, and you start what, a couple kilometers?
Yes.
Couple kilometers. You keep going still in small groups. 5, 6, 10 pigeons, small groups.
Even smaller.
Down to 3?
Yes, down to 3.
Okay. You get them out to about 30 kilometers. doing this?
Yes, and then I think, yes, they have to be clever enough now, and I start with a single toss. Of course, it's always a little bit, makes me a little bit nervous, still.
You're nervous right now talking about it.
When I talk about it, I already get nervous, because it's always taking a risk, a single toss with a youngster with no experience.
Right, and for people that don't understand this, when you talk about single tossing them between 30 and 70 kilometers, your pigeons, when you release them, they have to fly past how many thousands of pigeons would you say?
Yes, yeah, they have to pass lots. Belgium is full of pigeon fancies. That's the difficult of the single toss. They go from group to group on the road, and they fly when they fly together with the wrong group to the wrong direction, they are lost. They have to stay clever, to stay attention. They need a lot of attention to keep on line to go home.
Now, how many times will you single toss them?
3-4 times. It depends.
And you find that really helps them out?
I don't think they become better pigeons of it, but the rubbish is gone
quicker.
I don't like a lot of pigeons.
So if you start training, let's say 40 youngsters, you get them to the 30 kilometers and you start doing the single toss, roughly how many will you be left with to go to the first young bird races?
They will not, it's only a few who stay away. I think 90 or 95% will return home. But of course, the ones who always arrive in the evening, they don't get many chances for the races, because pigeon can make a mistake once, but the next time she must be alert and homing normal.
Right. So basically it's just to teach them a little bit of street smarts, and once you've got them a couple times single toss from that distance, then you go back to what, the groups again?
No, racing.
Racing.
But to general one-liner, when the weather is good and the pigeon is healthy, she must come home. If she doesn't come home, don't worry. She doesn't have the talents, the needed skills. She doesn't have the skills she needs to be a good racer. The pigeons must come home when the weather is good.
Okay.
I know it's a one-liner, and I know lots of people will not. But when you want good pigeons, they must easily find a way home. Even the first race. No, I'll explain better. The first night in the basket, the next morning you have to be very alert as a pigeon fancier, because the most good pigeons, the first night in the basket, they fly straight home with a very extreme good result.
Because they've spent the first night out.
Yes, not always like that, but often I discovered it. I even explained it to Dirk van den Boeckx. He never believed me. Thought he got his kittel. His kittel was from the first time very early at home. Since then he believed me. Before he didn't believe me, or he had his doubts. He was not sure about it.
But you noticed this with the young pigeons? I noticed
this during the years. The first time they are one night away from home, often they return very, very, very early, or hours too late. They make a mistake, or they are early at home. Generally spoken, it's not a.
Now, when you fly the young pigeons, do you once you start the races, do you train them anymore?
Depends. If they like to train by themselves during the week, it's not necessary to train them. But if they don't like to train at home, it's better to train them by car once.
Okay, and for people wondering, well, what does that mean if they don't like to train? When you're in the middle of the young bird season or a couple weeks in, you let your pigeons out in the morning, your young pigeons for a fly. What do you want to see them do?
The young hens, I like when they are 1 hour and 30 minutes gone, that I don't see them. When I don't see them for 1 hour or 2 hours, I like it a lot. Generally spoken, you can have good results on Sunday. On a race. Young cocks, it's more difficult. Sometimes they don't like to fly or.
So the young cocks,
it's much more difficult to have them training around the loft as the young hens.
The cocks are, the young
Don't
cocks.
leave the house so for 15 minutes and I come back. They go inside but
So will you train them, the young cocks?
sometimes I train them during the week.
And once a week, what on
One time in a week.
what, a Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday, or Wednesday, or Wednesday.
And
Depends on the weather. In Belgium, you have to look to the weather because sometimes the weather is not good.
and how far will you take them?
I drive to 70 kilometers.
And it'll just be the cocks. You just take them, the young cocks, let them go. And you fly the young pigeons separated, hens and cocks?
Yes, always separated.
Only separated. For young pigeons, what do you find does better, the hens or the cocks?
No, cocks, I think. For one night in a basket, cocks. When the longer distances and when you have 2 nights in a basket, I think the hens are better.
Okay. And how many races will you push the young pigeons to? How many times will they play?
Well, it depends. We start in May. If the results are good, but you keep on pushing till begin September.
So that's
But the later born, the second and third round, they start to race in June. They do not so much races.
right. So you normally, some of your pigeons will fly almost 5 months.
Yes, it happens. 15 races is normal. 15 races can be normal.
And the shortest race will be how far?
116 kilometers.
And the longest one?
I prefer 220 kilometers, my favorite distance, but I also race sometimes till the middle distance to do 400 kilometers. But I like a lot 220 kilometers when the headwind is 3 hours racing for a young bird. It's a nice distance, not too difficult, but already selected.
And for people that don't know, what is the base of your pigeons, the family?
Family. I have a Sagan, my national age pigeon from 2012. It was a national age pigeon from short distance, old birds and yearlings. And then I have a child of the best breeding pair of Dirk van den Bulk he ever had, son of Broer Goede Rode with the 40,000 hen. These are the main pigeons of my breeding. In fact, I'm breeding with 2 lines, Sagan line and Strik, the son of the Broer Goede Rode. Those lines mixed. Sometimes I bring in something, but I'm already successful with it in 4 generations with the children, 4 generations of children of these both lines.
And when you look to bring in pigeons, what are you looking for?
Good pigeons, and it's very difficult. it's I'm trying, but very difficult, because I'm almost never giving medication. I like a lot of natural strength. When I bring pigeons into my loft, often they become sick. They cannot have the system.
That's right. And we've talked about it inside there. You're not a fan of medications.
No, you must avoid as much as possible. I noticed when I sent the pigeon to a one loft race that my pigeons are always there till half final or the final. Lots of pigeons become sick and stay away. My pigeons are never sick on the one loft race. They are always there, almost always there. And I think the reason is natural health. Because Aldeno, I never have problems with it. I almost never, and if I have problems, it's 1 or 2 pigeons, but not more.
So when you wean your young pigeons into your loft, and I know we can see that, and we're going to take a look at this now. When you wean your pigeons, if a pigeon doesn't look right after you wean it,
yeah, it's just immediately out.
You don't try and fix it? No messing around?
No.
You just, that's it.
Sharp knife is the best veterinarian. No veterinarian can beat a sharp knife. So, as you can see, I'm not a cleaner.
That's okay.
I almost never clean. So the pigeons get from the day they are weaned the bacterium and the virus from the previous year. I also, like you can see, give the corn, maize corn. They have to learn the large grains from the first day.
And you can see very tight section, very small.
Yes, I have 7 sections of 1 meter, 1 meter 20 wide. So when I open the sliding door, I have a bigger section. I can work with it.
And you can see here, you're using some granules.
Granule, yes, in the beginning when we are sitting on the ground to a little bit.
Yeah, you see you made them a little box there. They can kind of go in there.
Yeah.
You see the large corn, very large. Now, these birds you just weaned, how many days have they been here?
They are on the second day, yeah?
Second day.
The day morning, yeah?
For people wondering, well, where's the beautiful feed? Where's the super expensive?
No. The sheep corn, big corn.
We call this reindeer corn.
Yes,
this is
okay. That's only the first 2-3 days that when they eat on their own very good. When they know to eat, then I start giving the expensiver food.
And how many youngsters will you have in these sections?
Well, I have 10, so I have 20 youngsters reined now, so I will use the second section also, but at the moment only 10. I gave them only 1 section.
So they have all the feed here in front of them. They have the pick stone, yes. The water.
They have.
Do you dunk the heads? Do you show them the water or no?
No, but after 2-3 days when someone is blinking with their eyes, that's a sign they didn't drink.
Yeah.
But normally 95% finds the drinker by themselves.
Now, do you like, if you see a pigeon that hasn't found the water on its own, that bothers you, doesn't it?
It does bother me, but
they don't have the sharp. They're not smart.
No.
And I can tell here, it's dry litter. It's no smell.
No.
But this is, you're talking the immunity that you're building. Now,
yes.
When will you scrape this floor?
Never.
Never?
Of course, when it gets wet, then I start to remove the wet places, but it stays dry,
You just allow it to just build up and stay dry.
When it's too much, I take away a little bit, but I always let, for the winter, I let a little bit on it.
And you can see
when you have a clean floor, he becomes wet. This floor doesn't become wet.
That's right. It's always dry
because there is a small section of dry shit on it.
Now, in all your lofts, and every year when you play, the floors stay the same.
The floors stay the same. I clean a little bit when it's too much. It's too much, of course, but.
Yeah, I know. But your floors are always dry floors.
And when they're shitting on the same spot, then they become wet. Then I clean it. When there's too much shit on one spot.
Right. Now the nest boxes, will you scrape them out every day?
In winter sometimes yes, because it's too wet. But in summer never.
Never. You just let it build up.
Let it build up.
So for your old birds, widowhood, everything.
Everything.
You leave it the same.
I leave it the same.
Very, very interesting.
But if some pigeon is making wet shit, I clean it.
Right.
When it's dry, you can leave it. That's a better.
And you've done this your whole life. This system.
This system, my whole life.
And again, you're flying against the toughest competition.
Very hard. Very hard. You can be sure.
And again, so people understand. Your best results, your best pigeon, who was he?
My best pigeon was Sagan, of course. He was the first national ace pigeon. But meanwhile, this year, with his great-grandson, the hardest race of the season, 1,200 meters a minute, 3 hours and 2 minute racing time, I won the first prize, the great-grandson. And I had to race against the bunch of Swan the Ridder. I did beat him at 1 minute, his whole group. But of course, when it's tailwind, then it's more difficult with a small number of pigeons to beat a guy with a big number.
Okay.
But with the headwind, I don't say easily, but you can beat them.
You can beat them.
You can beat them with the headwind.
And lofts are never scraped out. You always monitor them to make sure that they're dry. Anything that's wet, you do remove, and you leave it like this. And you're saying the buildup for the immunity is very good, because we talk about the transporters and the lorries. You guys sometimes have 5,000 to 7,000 pigeons in a transporter.
Yes. Suppose you're giving medication all the time since they are born. And then suddenly they come in a transporter for the race. 5,000 pigeons in one transport box in a lorry.
Yeah.
All the viruses, all the bacterians, they don't know it. It can be deadly for them. Pigeons get sick. After the first race, lots of people have sick pigeons because they don't. It's the first time they come in contact with the virus and the bacterians. My pigeon get it from the first day. You see it?
That's right.
Dirty floor, not cleaned. The bacterians and the virus are always in my loft. From my point of view, they build up immunity from the first day, already from the parents.
Right. And your parents, I'm taking it you don't pump a lot of medication into the breeders?
Nothing.
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 If you can't stay healthy, you're weak.
Of course, sometimes a pigeon gets sick, and when one of my best pigeons gets sick, of course I go to the veterinary. But it happens almost
never.
It happens, of course. Everybody, every human being, every animal can become sick. But what I noticed also, a good pigeon, when he gets sick, in 1 week he recovers. Bad pigeon, it takes 2 months to recover. Good pigeon, in a few days he recovers.
Okay. Patrick, thank you for showing us the young birds. Excellent, thank you. Hey guys, Ryan, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. I am here with Patrick Boeckx of Belgium, the sprint superstar. His #1 pigeon, Sagan. Now, with old bird racing, how do you play that? How do you do it?
Widowhood with cocks is mainly widowhood with cocks. I don't have enough place to raise the hens. But of course, in the future I'm planning to do it, more racing with the hens. But here in my area, the sprint is very popular, sprint races. And I think you need cocks for sprint races.
Why is that?
One night in a basket, an explosion of 100 or 200 kilometers. When you race the middle distance, pigeons stay 2 nights in a basket. Then the hens are, generally spoken, a little bit better because they are resting during the transport. 2 nights in a basket, not fighting. When you have very nervous cocks, they are fighting for 2 nights and 1 day in the transport. Their capabilities to have a good race are already gone when they are fighting all the time in the transporting box.
Right. Now, when the young bird season is over, you're finished playing with the young pigeons and you have 25 young pigeons left. How does a young pigeon make it to fly on your widowhood team? How good does he have to be?
Yeah. They need to fly in the 1% bests.
1% best.
Minimum 2 or 3 times.
They have to show it to you 2 or 3 times in the top 1%. And for people wondering, how many pigeons are you flying against that you need to see that? Like, how many pigeons on a weekend?
Well, in Belgium, they liberate in Quirijn 50,000 pigeons at the same moment, the same place, the same time.
And you're looking to be always in the top 1%?
In the top 1%. They need a few times to be in the 1%. But of course, you have to see if they are born later in the summer and they have to race against early winter-bred pigeons. You must see, and as a fancier, they cannot defend themselves so good against a winter-bred youngster, a summer-bred youngster. You must take,
you make adjustments.
With the winter-bred youngsters, no excuse. They must minimum 2 or 3 times in the 1% fly. Minimum, otherwise they don't get a chance to survive.
So the pigeons that you move over, it could be 2, could be 3, could be 5, whatever. Yeah. You move them over, you get them on widowhood. When you're flying widowhood, how do you do that? What's your widowhood system? They breed 1 round of youngsters. Mm-hmm. And then they are already, now, this time of the year, the 20th of January, they are already on widowhood, and they stay on widowhood. So you let them raise 1 youngster,
yes.
You take the hens away, let the cockbirds finish.
Yeah, and then they're on widowhood.
They're on widowhood. They don't see the hens again?
No, and when they are racing, I never show the hen before basketing them. Just only when they return home, the hen is waiting.
Okay, do you, okay, so the cockbirds, you take the youngsters away, the cocks are in their section, they go out once a day?
Yes, once a day.
The same time every day?
I try to do it in the morning. First thing in the morning is to let the widow woodcocks.
And you'll give them how long out?
As long as they fly, as they like to fly, they can be out.
So they go up to fly for 25 minutes,
yes.
They land?
When they are sitting on the roof and don't like to fly anymore, then inside. But 20 minutes is not enough. Eh? If you want to have good results on Sunday, they need to train 1 hour.
And when you mean 1 hour, you mean you let them out and they go?
No. Widow woodcocks, mostly 20 minutes or they gone, and then they return and they are flying around the house. And they're sitting on the roof 1 second or 2 seconds, bang. They don't like they fly in group, they must fly alone.
Must fly alone.
When you want, my experience is when they fly alone, then on Sunday you have the best results.
So you let the cocks out, they're gone for 15-20 minutes, you see them come back.
In groups or all alone, or in 2 or 3. Or
and you like that?
I like it.
Then maybe they land on the roof for a minute, pow, they pop off the roof, they break off into singles by themselves. They're telling you.
But 1 minute on the roof is too long. Eh? When you have the real top for them, they stay 2, 3, 5 seconds, bang, and they're gone again, eh? And then they come back and like that.
So that's what you'll see.
But
and
when they do that, then usually there's not a rule in pigeon or no rules, but then you have more chances to have very good results.
Okay, so the pigeons...
That top form you don't reach every year. Sometimes there is a year that you don't get that super top form. Why? I don't know.
Okay, so now the cocks each have their nest box.
Yes.
Do you feed them in the boxes?
You feed them in the boxes.
They only eat in the boxes?
When you only have a few pigeons like myself, you can do it like that and feed them in the boxes.
Right. So very simple, very easy. Do you measure the food with them?
I have a spoon, and when some pigeons are eating and quickly finished, I give them a little bit more. You must feel it, see it.
Okay.
The Sagan, the ace pigeon, I noticed in that year when he was racing, he needed an extra spoon. Sometimes food. He did, but he trained like hell, like crazy, like hell he trained.
Yeah.
He was 1 hour and 30 minutes training alone.
Loft flying by himself.
I didn't. Sometimes he didn't want to come in. I had to put a hen in the entrance
to bring him in.
To bring him in. He didn't want to come in. Always flying and training and. You know.
So he was in super form.
Extremely super form.
And okay, so you'll let the birds out. You race normally on Sundays, correct?
Yes.
So you race Sundays. The birds come home from the race. When they come home, they get their hen.
And
how long?
Few hours, 3-4 hours.
3-4 hours.
Something special.
Take the hens away.
Take the hens away.
And then when's the next time you let them out? Monday?
Monday, yes.
In the morning?
In the morning.
Then Tuesday the same?
Same, every day the same.
Every day the same. And you also, so you feed them in the morning and at night?
And at night, and in the evening, yes.
Twice a day?
Twice a day, yes.
Twice a day. Anything special you put in the water?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
Nothing.
Anything special on the feed?
Nothing.
Nothing.
But the guys who race 500, 600, 700 kilometers and they want to basket the pigeon again 1 week later, now they have to give maybe some extra food.
Yeah.
But for 200 kilometers or 300 kilometers, you don't. Food is good. You don't need something.
Okay. Okay. So then, you always basket then on Saturday.
Yes.
What do you do to tell the cocks it's time to go? Do you?
Nothing. Nothing.
Nothing at all. Don't give them a nest bowl. Don't open the box up any differently.
And I feed them twice on Saturday. They go with food in the basket.
Okay, you stick to the same time feeding.
Then Saturday noon, at noon the second time, or again a little bit food that they.
Okay, so nothing really changes.
Nothing.
Just put them in the basket. You don't show them the hens. You don't give them a nest bowl. No type of pre.
2 or 3 in 2 or 3 weeks they know it. They know it immediately. The system. And even when they were raised as a young cock on the sliding door, they don't forget it. The reward that they get when they come home from a race, they get
right.
They get something, and they get their wife.
Yeah, the motivation. They get it when they come home. And when you're with your widowhood cocks, for them to carry on to the next season with you,
yes.
What do they have to show you in that season?
It's the same. Like of course you can't not be so like the youngsters know. Like they need to fly in the 1%, but competition is harder. There's more selection. You have to be careful because it's almost impossible to have every week in 1% with an old cock. That everybody has good pigeon. The wind, when the wind is pushing a little bit in the wrong direction for yourself.
Yeah, you have to use common sense in the 1%.
Yes.
Right. And you find that your pigeons, do they do better on tailwinds or headwinds?
Headwinds.
Why is that?
I think because I'm selecting for that more. I don't know. It gives me also more pleasure to have a pigeon who wins a first prize with the headwind as with the tailwind.
Right.
A bad pigeon can win a first prize with a tailwind, but a bad pigeon will never win a first prize with the headwind. I think, but I don't know it.
No, it's your feeling.
It's my feeling.
And in this area, what are the predominant winds here?
The what?
In this area that you fly,
yeah.
Is it more headwinds, more tailwinds? How do you find it?
I think 60% tailwind and 40% headwind. But in summertime it's more headwind. It depends. Yeah.
Okay.
1 year you have a lot of headwind, 1 year it's less.
So you just go with what it is and that's it. But your pigeons all around, they do compete very, very well.
Sagan, when he was an ace pigeon, it was 3 times tailwind and 3 times headwind. You need 6 good results to have an ace pigeon.
Yes.
It was mixed 3 times headwind, 3 times tailwind. It was the same. Home alone. Yeah.
And what an amazing feeling that is, eh? To have a pigeon like this.
But I cannot describe that feeling. I didn't understand it, what is happening with me. That was the feeling I had. I couldn't even enjoy it because it was too much. What's happening here? Then I stopped racing him. Then suddenly his younger brother and sisters also started to race and to have good results.
And it just goes from there. Yeah. So this loft, this whole setup here, this is all your racing?
Yes. That's everything I have.
Not big at all. Like
no,
it's.
No, but listen, it's the quality what's important, not the quantity.
And
I give you an example. If I send 10 pigeons and my first nominated doesn't win a prize, and the other 9 win a prize, I'm not satisfied.
Right.
Because my best pigeon did miss his prize. I'm not satisfied. And we race for money. I put my money on the first nominated. Those nine others cannot fulfill my wishes. My first nominated has to be there.
So when you're nominating pigeons, what do you look for when you go into the loft? What helps you make a nomination?
The previous results, the condition during the week, the training, the feeling,
everything,
the motivation. But I think he has everything. Yeah, a lot of small things who make. No?
And how many widowhood cocks will you fly?
Fewer.
So it's much easier to concentrate. You almost know each pigeon as it's a person.
Yes, that is my how I enjoy taking part. I know from every pigeon what he's doing, which is his girlfriend.
Right.
Does he love his girlfriend very much at the moment? Yet I must know it. I must see it every day. And that is impossible with a lot of pigeons.
So,
this year, I told you, I did win the first prize on the hardest race with the youngsters for the year, with my first nominated, with the money on it, and he did it. That is why gives me the maximum good feeling.
Right, the super high.
My first nominated, with all the money behind it. Johan de Ridder, excuse me that I'm saying again, he had the second and the third prize, and he did send 100 pigeons. I did send a few, and I did beat him with my first nominated, 1 minute ahead, 3 hours racing time. That's why the good feel. That is the motivation.
Yeah. So not only you having small loft, but then you're really focusing in. And when you go to the club to take those pigeons, you put them in an order of how you think they're going to come.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
That's very, very tough.
Even for the training, it's the same for me. I think that pigeon must come home very good. I'm always in my mind, this pigeon is my favorite. This is the order. I have always an order of quality in my head.
Really?
And I always searching for recognition to prove myself that I'm right.
Okay.
So when I send 10 pigeons and my first nominated is not in the price list, I'm not satisfied. The other 9 can do what I want. I didn't make a good result as a fancy because I didn't know it.
Wow, guys! You see what this is? This is what we talk about: small loft flying against the top competition. You're going to a level where a lot of people can't even understand.
Yes, I know, but I make. That's my way of doing it.
Yeah, no, that's
only the. I try to have a good pigeon. That's all I want to have a good pigeon. And when I have 100 pigeons every week, there are other pigeons on the top of the list. That's not funny for me. I must have one or a few good pigeons. And yeah.
And you know how to do it.
I try to know it.
No, I know.
Sometimes I'm lucky, sometimes I'm not lucky. Yeah? It's not always.
Now, okay, so how many breeding pairs then do you have?
I have 7 breeding pairs. Main breeding pairs, and I have a few, how do you say it in English? Foster parents?
Yes, switchers.
And young breeders that I try, but sometimes later in summer I put an egg from another pair. But the main breeders are 7.
7. Wow.
Yeah.
And that's it. You just, and how often do you bring in a pigeon to try new blood?
Almost every year I try something, but it's difficult to bring in something.
And when you bring something in, how quickly do you make the decision whether it stays or it goes? What do you have to see?
Yeah, I try to breed 4 or 6 youngsters of it. Mm-hmm. I try them during the whole season, and yeah, they are all rubbish. Maybe I try it with a second cock, but if it's an hen, I try a second cock, and then it must go quickly. One pair, when you breed 4 or 6 youngsters from one pair, and there's not one good among them, you can forget it. I must be. What is good goes quickly.
There you have it, right there.
Otherwise, I will have 300 pigeons if I don't make a hard selection.
Yeah, no. Again, very, very common sense. And out of your main breeders, those 7, how many rounds will you take off them in a season?
To race, you can breed 4 rounds.
4 rounds.
3 goes easily, 4 also possible. But then the youngest one, you don't have much time anymore to raise and to select them and molting but even when a youngster, when you send him 3 or 4 times a late bred, he must surprise you once. Even when he's molting a little bit, he must. Certainly, the first and the second time you send him, he must like to be at home.
Right.
When you were the first time away from home one night, you were always also thinking about your parents and your.
Oh yeah, I'm away now, and I think about it.
Of course.
So
for me, Pigeon is the same. And certainly, the first time they are one night away from the loft, they must return home. They must make a good price, or coming 2 or 3 hours too late because they missed. But you know.
So again, basically, you're looking for the special pigeons and the pigeons that can show up and get in to that 1%.
The best sister of Sagan, I trained her as a youngster, and she came home very good. First race, first time, one night in a basket, bang, 9th prize from 2,000 or 3,000 pigeons. Immediately she was there. Although she was not coming home very good from the trainings, but of course, one night in the basket, the truck, is something else. Then she was motivated to return home.
Right. So again, a lot of common sense. And what's very nice is Patrick flying against some of the stiffest competition in the world. You see the loft, you see the size of the man and the size of the loft. You hear the amount of pigeons it breeds out of. He's getting the results. So you don't need to have 500 pigeons to get super results. Sometimes they say a little less is a little more. And I think this is what we see here. Patrick, man, this was a good one, my friend. I want to thank you for showing us your loft.
Thank you. No
Excellent.
problem.
Hey guys, Ryan, Feathers Elite Pigeon Auctions. We hope you enjoyed that amazing loft tour. Please, reminder to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Until the next loft tour, thanks for flying with me. Bye for now.